after Budapest, I was all set to go to Vienna, except I screwed up. Vienna's more expensive, and I normally book things a week or two in advance, and that sort of helps with the prices. But I waited too long, and it just looked like Vienna was going to cost me a lot of money, so I was freaking out. I decided, screw it, I'll go to Athens instead, and it will actually be cheaper with the flight and everything than if I just went to straight to Vienna. Which I don't know if that's actually true, but I convinced myself that was the case. Maybe I was lying to myself. Maybe I'm lying now. I don't know. But I wanted to change of pace, and I heard that Budapest and Vienna weren't so different. So, whatever. Don't I deserve a vacation from all this traveling? On May 19th, 2018, I took a 3 hour flight from Budapest to Athens, and I also visited the islands Naxos, Santorini, and Paros. In addition to my regular chat with Kevin, there's some quote unquote bonus material at the end of the episode. So I normally record myself talking twice. One recording is with the good microphone, what you're hearing now, and the second recording is with the laptop mic as a backup, just in case something goes wrong. In Greece, after me and Kevin were done like officially talking for the podcast, I forgot to stop the laptop mic recording. So I listened back to this off the record conversation, and I told Kevin some candid thoughts about how I was feeling, and I thought, that was interesting. I shared some stuff that I wouldn't have shared if I knew it was being recorded. But that was last year's Derek, and I was thinking, fuck his privacy. You know what I mean? So at the end of the episode, I included some of that, some off-the-record thoughts. It's only my part of the conversation, so it sounds like I'm ranting at Kevin, and the audio quality is bad. Bad like the travel podcast you're listening to. A bad travel podcast.
Πιάσε με απ' τον νόμο κι όπα πρώτα το δεξί. Κι αν μου κουραστείς στο δρόμο θα σε βάλω σε ταξί.
Earlier, I had to kind of do the walk of shame, not like the sex one, but I was at a restaurant and I ordered some food and I sat down with my food and I started eating it. I had to get up and go back to the counter and say, actually, I'd like to order more food, please.
You're like, what did you eat and what did you order more of?
Okay, so this is the part where it's actually really shameful, is because when I said restaurant, that was kind of like a stretch.
It was a buffet.
It was a bakery.
Okay.
And so what I ordered was a piece of pie, and what I got up to get more of was I got a big scoop of ice cream to have with my pie. So I was like halfway done with my pie, and I was like, it'd be great with this pie, some ice cream. And so I got up and I walked up to the counter and I said, what would be great with my pie is some ice cream. They gave me the ice cream as requested. I ate the pie and I ate the ice cream, and now I feel like a half jug of milk. My stomach is just like splashing around with fucking dairy.
Cool.
It's like a common theme is that at some point, like right before we record, I'll be like, I know what I can do to fuck this up. I don't want to feel normal. I don't want to feel sane when I'm sitting down to talk to my friend Kevin. What I want to do is be fucking jittering and
What kind of pie was it?
It was like asking the good questions. It was like a
ice cream pie,
pecan and honey, and it was like a really flaky crust because I'm in Greece, so it was like that flaky crust, that flaky Greece crust. I don't know. I don't even know what it's called. Phyllo crust, maybe.
Greco-Roman, I think.
The Romans stole everything from the Greeks, right?
Oh yeah, for the most part.
So when you call something Greco-Roman, just call it Greco. In my opinion,
I don't want to touch that. I know it's like a hotly debated thing.
Well, I'm probably going to go to Italy at some point later, so we can get both sides of it. Maybe what we could do right now is for Greece, we'll just say that the Romans stole everything, and then when I go to Italy, we'll just say the Greeks are liars. They made the whole fucking thing up.
Yeah, I think that's the best.
I don't know what the Roman side of that argument would even be. Hey, you stole everything from us. Is the Roman side of the argument? So what?
Well, maybe they would be like, we did it better.
How
you
could
know?
they say they did it better when they had guys named like Jupiter and shit?
Well, I mean, they named all their gods after Sailor Moon, which is like total weeb shit.
That's pretty good. I think it'd be cool if we named all of our planets after Neon Genesis Evangelion. Neon Genesis Evangelion characters.
Dad, what's that star in the sky? That's Goku, son. I thought it was Alpha Centauri. No. No, we don't call it that anymore. Not after the war.
Are we going to Planet Namek now, Dad?
I told you, this is
No.
Namek. Weren't you listening?
You stupid fucking kid.
You dumb son of a bitch.
Why do you still talk like that? You're 35. I don't know. You never took me to school.
My son, Adam Sandler.
Holy shit, you just came up with the next hit Adam Sandler movie. It would only work if Adam Sandler played the dad and the son, but not with any like CGI or makeup to make them look older or younger.
He wore the same outfit and the same look. He just did different voices. And they didn't even edit it. They just like kept the same shot and he would just like go from one spot to the next.
It'd be funny. He's just like driving down the road and there's a bunch of cops chasing them. Dad, what are we going to do? You know?
I told you.
I
So.
don't know, son. Yeah, how? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. What are we gonna do? Maybe he like puts on a hat with a propeller on it when he's the kid, and then takes it off when he's the dad. But that's the only difference.
I think he should just do a normal voice throughout, but just keep cycling through all the characters he's done. It's like he'll be Jack and Jill in one spot, Billy Madison in the next.
Oh shit! The extended Adam Sandler universe, like Avengers movie. They all come together.
I told you
Oh
we
my
gotta
God.
beat Thanos. He's got the fucking glove.
I would love to see Little Nicky and Happy Gilmore
I forgot about Little Nicky.
teaming up at last. How can you forget about Little Nicky?
I must have blocked it out. Classic game from my childhood, the Game Boy Color Little Nicky game. Kids, I know you always wanted to play as Little Nicky.
That could actually be a cool
Yeah.
movie because Little Nicky has the powers of hell. Happy Gilmore's good at golf. The Click guy has time control.
Billy Madison stupid.
One of the most powerful things you can have is being stupid. But you call that heart or something, some
Yeah.
made up bullshit. Just like that Planeteer that had heart
Oh, yeah,
as his
yeah.
power.
Yeah.
Fake bullshit power.
That was clearly a guy like that kid the least.
Why are you here?
Yeah. Yep. So I've given you all the 4 rings. Oh, what about me? Right.
I don't know.
Didn't see you there. Just fishing around in a cereal box. Yeah, this is heart. Yeah,
Your power is that the monkey that you already own will still be your friend. Have fun.
Maybe.
Believe in yourself, kid. That's what's important.
Don't take shit off of
If
nobody.
there's a building that's about to fucking fall down, use wind or something. If you got to put out a fire, use water. I guess if you need to talk to somebody, you can talk to them. It doesn't matter. That's the least important job. But go ahead. He's basically like their social media manager.
That's gonna be really cool when they make a gritty Captain Planet movie. Like all of the kids are like grown up. They're trying to pawn the rings for rent money.
Nice.
Yeah.
Mm.
Where are you
Yeah.
at?
I literally heard a cricket in the background.
Oh, right. You're in Greece.
Yeah, that's right. I'm in Greece. Specifically, I'm on the island of Paros.
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 Paros. Daughter of Uranus. Brother of Kronos.
Is that true? Did you just look that up? Is that real, or did you just make that up?
No, I just made it up. I mean, just fucking...
Oh, it sounded real.
Yeah,
You
anything-
used a lot of...
Yeah, it's the voice.
I would say that the Hanna-Barbera universe is kind of my own personal Greek pantheon.
Yeah. Well, who's Zeus in the Hanna-Barbera universe?
McGill Gorilla.
Didn't even hesitate. Like, duh, are you fucking stupid?
Did you not know that, or
I would say George Jetson would definitely be Apollo.
go on?
Well, because, Apollo has that chariot, and instead of a chariot, I can just see George Jetson in that flying car.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I support this.
Dragging.
Yeah, I mean, just back up your theory with things like that, and I'll follow you, man.
Yeah, just George Jetson dragging the sun behind him to make the dawn come.
And dropping off, yeah, Judy and Jane.
Yeah. I love the pause in that song, too, when he's like, Jane, his wife, dee 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 dee. And it's just like the whole pause is to make you, like, what? Focus in.
I don't know, but I hated that part. I was like,
Yeah.
come on, get to the good part.
I was kind of hoping they would just do that forever, just like 1950s suburban America in just different locales. It's like, we already did it with dinosaurs. Let's do it with space now.
Those are kind of the only two worlds that are interesting.
I think it would have been cool if they did it in like 11th century England, They had like cholera.
9 dead children.
Dee 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 dee.
Man, Judy was hot, right? God,
Judy
damn.
was a tamale. She's a hot tamale.
What a fox.
Yeah.
And an albino. Whew.
Yeah, she was albino.
I mean, yeah, there really has not been enough said about how Fred could completely fucking wreck George Jetson in a straight up fist fight.
Oh yeah, George Jetson, this anemic freak who just like is like conveyor belted everywhere. He's like his muscles have all atrophied. His only muscle use is him holding that briefcase.
And
throwing
remember,
it on the
he
table.
lives like in the high atmosphere, so he's getting like different levels of oxygen.
What? Well, no, because they're all pressurized, right? Because they live in fucking orbs. I don't think that theory holds, Derek. I think there are oxygen levels in the orbs, so I think Fred Flintstone would fucking kill his ass.
I think we agree.
Yeah,
Don't try to put me on Team George Jetson.
yeah. It just seemed like you were wavering a bit, but I think Fred Flintstone just one roundhouse kick and he'd take out George. Problem with George is he's a fucking nerd and he has machines, so he'd just have Rosie fight Fred. But I still think Fred would win.
But anyway,
Paros.
Paros, yeah, okay. So Paros is in the Lesser Cyclades, which is a series of islands, 100 something miles to the southeast of Athens. I didn't go to Crete and I didn't go to like Rhodes, but I went to a couple of the smaller islands. I was also in Athens for a little bit, and
Cool.
I would like to maybe tell you a story.
About Athens, or
Yeah, in a roundabout way.
Okay.
So there was once this guy, this dude
Yeah.
who basically he could get any chick he wanted, and he had a bunch of kids, like way too many. He didn't even take care of most of them.
Mm-hmm.
So one woman couldn't hold his interest for very long, but there was this specific lady who he was quite fond of because she could change her shape at will. She could turn into anything he desired. Other women, and let's see what else it says here: falcons, fish, serpents. Real wild stuff.
Yeah.
And so he started lusting after this woman, and the oracle was like, "Hey, man, you don't want to lust after that woman because after she gets pregnant, she's going to give birth to this kid that's going to overthrow you." The oracle was talking, of course, to Zeus.
Oh shit.
But Zeus doesn't listen to the oracle because he's like, I want to fuck this lady. This lady's... It says that right here. I'm reading off of a Greek mythology website.
Yeah.
And this lady's name is Metis, or Metus,
Mm-hmm.
or Metis. In any case, Zeus goes after the lady. He gets his way, and he makes her pregnant using his powerful seed. Kevin, pay attention.
Yeah, sure.
But because the lady's pregnant, he's like, oh shit, that kid's going to overthrow me. That's going to suck. And so what he does is he goes to her one day and he's like, my beautiful, lovely Metis, it would be cool if you turned into a fly.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, okay.
I Metis.
She turned into a fly, and Zeus grabbed her and ate her while
Wow.
she was pregnant. Then, sometime later, after Zeus had eaten the pregnant woman turned fly, he got a terrible headache. A terrible headache. He went to the other gods. He was like, "What the fuck do I do about my terrible headache?" And Hephaestus, the blacksmith god, was like, "Well, I will make a special axe, and I will chop open your head." And Zeus was like, "That's fine."
Yeah.
So Hephaestus chopped open Zeus's head, and out sprang, fully grown, the goddess Athena, the goddess of intelligence and wisdom. Well, she was born out of Zeus's head, after all. His forehead. I think his mom. I think her mom was still dead, though. I think her mom doesn't come back
Yeah.
in the story. But that's how Athena is born, and of course, Athena is the namesake of Athens. So, pretty good story. See, those are good stories. Greek
Yeah.
mythology.
Yeah, it's hard to find stories like that anymore.
Yeah, can you imagine fucking Iron Man eating pregnant Scarlett Johansson?
I mean, it's probably on some fanfic somewhere, but, it's not going to go mainstream, certainly, not like the Greek pantheon.
It's a good story.
It's a
It
beautiful
has
story.
everything. It has drama. It has suspense. It has a twist ending. And it has a moral, Because it's like, look, if you're a guy that has to have a woman that you think can be everything for you, don't make her pregnant because her child will overthrow you. And then if you do make her pregnant, don't eat her because then you'll have to get your head chopped open. Those are the kind of like things anybody can use.
Yeah, though that's why the ancient Greeks were so smart.
And I mean, it makes sense how religion develops, right? Is like, you have like a small farming community, you start to worship like the gods of the water and the wind and whatever, because you're like, they will bless us when a certain time comes. Or you have to fear the god of thunder because at some point somebody saw lightning strike and it killed a guy or whatever. And then it makes sense that you make up stories like, don't eat a pregnant lady.
Or else a guy will split your head open with an axe.
Yeah, well, maybe that happened,
Who's to say?
Who's to say? But
So
in
that
any
was the
case-
ancient Greeks. I mean,
Yeah.
what do the modern Greeks make of all this, Derek?
Oh, I mean, yeah, their newspapers are still like, extra, Poseidon fucks a fish.
Yeah. So your story about Zeus turning a lady into a fly after getting her pregnant and then eating her and getting its head split open with an axe and Athena coming out of it reminds me of Athens, the city.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
And I was wondering, since you were there, the biggest city in Greece, what was it like? The metropoli.
Let me just say right off the bat that I like Athens, and I wish I had budgeted more time to be in Athens, because the way I did this was been splitting my time. I was in Athens for 2 days, and then I've been on the islands for 5 days. And I wish I would have just stayed in Athens the entire time and gone to an island for like maybe 1 day. But the reason I split my time is because I thought, wow, islands are going to be cool. And also because fucking every single traveler I met before coming to Athens, and also everybody I've met here actually, is like really down on Athens. They don't like Athens. They say it's ugly and no fun and not interesting and all this other stuff. But once again, dipshit backpacker fucking culture has got a city completely backwards and wrong.
Yeah.
Like Athens was cool as hell, but it's true, it's ugly. Like it's not like an attractive city, but I don't give a fuck about that.
You care about the people, right? And the vibe.
The vibe is essential. And with Athens, it's like you walk around the city and it's got like narrow streets and there's graffiti fucking everywhere. A lot of it is just stuff that says like Antifa or whatever. The ancient shit in the center of the city is like kind of cool, but not that cool, and it's really touristy.
Yeah.
But it is a city. It's a big living city with, the Greek people that live there, and it does have an energy about it. It kind of weirdly reminds me of like Hanoi. Maybe it's because of the narrow streets and like there's a lot of people out. And on the other end, it reminds me of Southern California because there's a lot of desert and it's very mountainous and it's next to the ocean. Backpackers come there and they just want to like kind of see the Acropolis and they want to fuck off to the islands, and so that's how I made my itinerary too.
Yeah.
And let me just say straight up, more like the Acropolis.
Damn.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Wow.
It was good. It was fine. It was fine. It was fine. They're ruins. They look nice. But I had more fun kind of walking around the city in Athens than I have walking around on these islands. I've been to 3 islands, and they're cool, they're beautiful, and they're boring.
They're just pleasant to be on. Is that it? Just kind of a nice, okay.
If I were going on vacation, it would make sense to be on one of these islands because they're kind of resorty. At least the big island, the one everybody recommends, Santorini.
Oh, yeah. That's that city, yeah.
You've heard of it.
Oh, yeah, because, like, people talk about it's one of the most beautiful cities in the world. The
It
architecture.
absolutely is.
Yeah.
It absolutely is. It's fucking gorgeous. It feels unreal. It's like you stepped into a Disney fantasy movie or something from a distance. When you're like looking at it from the shore or you're walking along the path, it looks incredible. But then you get up close in the buildings and they're all just hotels and fucking spas and restaurants
So-
and trinket shops.
So this is where I want to wind back a bit to what you said about Athens and backpacker disease and all this. Is like the idea of an actual city where people live and reconstruct daily life versus like a simulation. You get what
Yeah,
I'm
I
saying?
mean,
It's
like it's tough because, like, in one sense, Santorini is like a super manicured place, and it's for tourists. It's for people that want to go on vacation, not travel. But that island and the way it looks and everything came out of like a natural process. Like people did live there and they built their houses in a certain way. It looks that way for a reason, and it's beautiful. And if you're in Greece, you should absolutely see it. You should see it when you're like on your honeymoon or something. Like you don't. It doesn't feel like you're going there to experience like authentic Greek shit. It feels like you're going there to have a nice vacation, which to me is just kind of a different thing.
you want to see like actual Greece and how it constitutes itself, not this like resort town where basically you go to freeze time, enjoy a beach, and then leave.
Yeah, and I don't want to knock that shit too much because it's not like I had a bad time. It's a really nice place.
Right.
I went there and I saw more old white tourists than I've ever seen in the rest of my traveling. Like not backpackers, you know what I'm saying? Like I mean the cheap backpacker set is definitely there also, staying in hostels and stuff, which is what I did because as you can imagine, like the hotels there are expensive as shit. But it was pretty balanced out with huge tour groups from China and wealthy like holiday people. The town on Santorini, Thera, the one I was in, was just resorty as hell. I walked down the island to another town, and it was resorty as hell. And the walk between them sucked. It was just like rocky and shit. Most people like rent 4-wheelers to like drive on the island, but I didn't do that because I don't have an international driver's license, which I guess is you need one to rent a 4-wheeler.
Fucking Greek nanny state.
The geography of the island is really cool because the island I was on before that was this island Naxos. It had a little bit less going on, but it was more flat to the ground, whereas Santorini is like, it has these steep, huge cliffs raised up. The town is like on the cliffs overlooking the ocean. The island's kind of shaped like a crescent, and in the middle there's a volcanic island, which is why it's shaped that way. That's the whole reason it has that geography, is there's like a big volcanic eruption leaving like a burned up island in the middle and then like this carved out crescent shaped island around it, which is Santorini. Like I said, it looks unreal. Probably the coolest place I've seen in my life. But then when you get up close, it's like, oh, they're just selling magnets and shit here. This
Bummer. It's like
I sound
Santorini
like
brought to you by
I sound like a stick in the mud. I sound like I'm an asshole.
No, I'm the
And
same
so
way,
I guess I probably am. I'm probably an asshole.
No, I mean it's the same because you see this thing and you're like, oh, this is incredible, and then like there's someone hawking shit, and you're like, oh, right, this
Yeah.
could be at Universal Studios or whatever, you know.
Anyway, I met this dude in a Euro place, and so I had somebody to hang out with, and we walked around the island and everything. This guy from Puerto Rico, Ramon. We were walking around, and that's when I kind of noticed, like, oh, this is like a romantic spot. Like, I shouldn't have even come here. This is all you see is couples. It's just me and Ramon, hanging out.
Yeah,
Why the fuck am I here?
you're right.
This is couple world. I feel like I'm intruding on everybody's like romantic honeymoon and shit.
Yeah, that'd be kind of weird. What was Ramon's take on it?
I related that to Ramon there, and he was like, "Yeah, I know what you mean. It kind of makes you feel depressed. Kind of makes you wish you had someone you love, yeah."
Yeah,
And I was like,
kind of makes you wish you
"You're
were
right."
dead, eh? Thanks, Ramon. I'm glad you had someone there that could relate.
Like we were walking around and geez, getting hungry. We should stop in a restaurant. We went to a place and like literally it's only couples in there. The maitre d' or whatever came up and he was like, it'll be a 40-minute wait. And it's like, am I gonna wait 40 minutes to have a romantic dinner with this guy Ramon from Puerto Rico that I just met? No.
Yes is the answer. I'll take your finest table.
You know,
Ramon, have you ever
it-
seen Lady and the Tramp? Yeah, big plate of spaghetti, please, for me. Thank you.
Cliffside candlelit dinner guy. Only thing I fucking know about him is he has a sister. There was a white guy with an acoustic guitar busking.
Cool. Same. All over the world, they're clones.
He might just be the same guy traveling, following me wherever I go.
Can you play Green Day's "Time of Your Life" one more time, please?
He was like playing Maroon 5 or Train or something. You know what's worse is like not playing that kind of schmaltzy shit, but playing something like Nirvana or something, but doing it in the style of Maroon 5.
All alone is all we are, all alone.
So I was watching this acoustic guitar player. Wasn't enjoying it, but I needed something to piss me off. So I was sitting there kind of just getting pissed off at this guy. This dude with like dreads and a big like goatee comes over and he kind of like taps him on the shoulder and they have a conversation. I'm watching this like intensely, A few minutes later, goatee guy comes back with his own acoustic guitar.
Cool.
And they have a jam busk session. Isn't that beautiful? Two white guys with acoustic guitars meet on a fucking island in Greece.
Hey, man, I saw you were playing Wonderwall. I thought maybe I'd join in, man. Yeah, man, that sounds good. Hey, man, I'm playing Wonderwall, too. Just fucking army
Guy
starts congregating.
Pokes his head out of the trash can.
Start fucking like swashing up on shore with the guitars.
The goatee guy was more into soloing, so he was like calling out chord changes for the first busker to play. It was like soloing with an acoustic guitar. So it did sound stupid.
Yeah.
It did sound very stupid. But I was watching them. I watched them for maybe 10 or 15 minutes, and no one gave them any money. So the story does have a happy ending. If anybody's listening to this and like spins poi or is a didgeridoo guy, don't go to Santorini. In fact, don't go anywhere. Please stay in Columbus, Missouri, where you belong.
So Santorini, say 6 out of 10?
I think if I went to Santorini when I was like in a serious relationship or something, and I was there just to like chill out and like eat food and look at the nice views, would have been a completely magical, wonderful time. But like I'm doing something different. I'm all about beautiful shit. I love seeing sights. You know what I mean? I love seeing sights. But when I get to a place and that's all it is to me, like it's kind of a waste. I'm not on vacation. I don't want to go to a place and just chill, and I don't want to go to a place and just see the winery.
Yeah,
And I don't know, it's boring to me.
I think they need less Greek islands for like couples and more Greek islands for podcasters.
Finally, somebody said it.
Yeah, like they need to really get the ball rolling on that. It just struck me because since you're in Greece a few years ago, it was like, the whole Greek political crisis or whatever, the election of Syriza. Did you feel any of that? Was there any political demonstrations? Has it died down?
The only part of that I've seen is basically from graffiti, mostly in Athens. There's a lot of graffiti that just says, like, this is an anti-fascist zone and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and it's fucking, like, everywhere, to the point where it's just like, all right, I assume it's anti-fascist. I don't know if this is helping or not, whatever. I'm not on the fascist side, but, like, it's a lot of graffiti, guys. But no, I didn't see any political demonstrations. I didn't hear anything about any of that. Not really in those circles, so I'm probably not going to be privy to it. Like, no one's going to be like, hey, man, I heard you're in Greece. Do you want to fucking sabotage a fascist meeting or something? No. Point me to the Euro spot. I'm not interested in...
Yeah. No, I was just curious, like, if you felt it at all. Like, if you're, in between the Euros and the pie and the ice cream, you saw, like, I don't know, any political murmurings.
If you're walking around, you'll notice that there are quite a few, like, businesses that are abandoned, maybe more than you would see in other cities. And there's a lot of people that, like, make their money by, like, selling things on the street. I don't know if that was always the way in Greece, but I think maybe some of it might have to do with the downturn economy and just the fact that there's so many tourists there is probably part of it.
You didn't like check out any newspapers while you were there or anything? See what the current beat was?
What am I going to do? Pick up a Greek newspaper and be like, yes, triangle E fucking weird looking B. Yes, of course.
Everything seems to be in order.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to buy a Greek newspaper. I'm going to go up to a Greek person. I'm going to be like, hey, can you tell me what this means? And be pointing at an Archie comic.
I got to know what happens to Dilbert, all right?
That might be a good segue into, like, when I was in Athens, I did this tour. And it was like a free walking tour, which just means, like, you don't have to pay, but only if you're an asshole you don't pay. Because at the end they say, like, okay, and now you can tip us. Although I did do a free tour in South Korea and I didn't pay for it, but that was different.
That was the cult, right?
No. The free tour I did in South Korea was just like there was just like this one old retired guy, and he met up with me and just one other person. And he basically just hiked us around, and he didn't really even tell us much about what he was showing us. He was just like, that's the gym there. And we were like, what's the history with that? And he was like, history? Oh no. It's a new gym. It's very nice.
It's a YMCA.
Anyway, so I was doing this free tour in Athens with this lady who's originally from South Africa. So she has that South African accent where, like, she pronounces here as here. Now here we have a whatever, a bakery or the fuck. It sounds kind of British.
Here.
No.
Here.
Neither one of us are doing it, but it doesn't matter.
Here.
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 No, that was Australian.
Here we have the great Acropolis.
Anyway, I was doing this tour with a South African lady. She's like been living in Greece for 26 years. She married a Greek guy. And she has a Greek kid. So Athens has like a shitload of strays.
Stray dogs.
Stray dogs, stray cats. And when we were on the tour, there was this big dog that came up to us. He was like, like a fucking a sausage of a dog, just like perfectly round, smiling, wagging his tail, and he has a collar on. The tour guide says, "Oh, that's Leon. Come on, Leon." And Leon lives in the park, and Leon just followed us during the entire tour, basically from the time it started, and the tour lasted like 3 hours till the very end. We had this dog accompanying us, this dog spirit, really, this pleasant, slightly smelly dog who every now and then he would like peel away from the group and we're like, "Bye, Leon," and he would like jump in a fountain or something or poop, and then he'd come back and he was with us again, except wet or poopy, and it was great. And our tour guide was telling us like the strays in Athens are like really well taken care of. When it rains, somebody brings them in, like a shop owner or something. People put out food for them. They give them collars. They give them names. Towards the very end of the tour, we went up to this area in Athens where they have quote unquote island style houses, which is the kind of houses you would see on like Santorini, where it's like basically stacked on top of each other. The white houses. There's there are 1 or 2 rooms, that kind of thing. There's a very narrow path through the neighborhood. And at one point, Leon was with us, and we encountered a cat. And there was like this very cartoonish thing where like the cat hissed and ran up a tree, and a big fat guy came out of his tiny house and was like, "Hey, what's the matter, you?" But he said it in Greek,
The freaking cat stole my ravioli.
He said some stuff in Greek, and Leon was barking and the cat was hissing. It was this whole thing. And we walked past them and we got up to like a higher level because we're going on an incline basically. So we're on the next level of houses and the guy's still yelling in Greek. People are like, "Oh man, what's he saying?" I was like, "I don't know, but he doesn't sound happy." Like 5 people laughed at that line. Wasn't a good line, but I felt good getting a laugh from some people. I felt like a sitcom. It was like a sitcom level line. "I don't know, but he doesn't sound happy." You just say it in a really stupid way, and everyone's like, "Oh."
Just after every situation, you just go, "Oh, here we go again."
"Check, please."
"Sir, you're being evicted from the Airbnb. Your card bounced." Bazinga.
Anyway, so he was like still yelling and shit. And our tour guide was like, "Oh, it's just a typical Greek man throwing his little conniption fit."
What the fuck?
Well, she's been living there for 26 years. She's married to a Greek guy. She has a Greek son, whatever. I think she wanted to say something kind of funny, but it started this whole thing because the Greek man, yelling in Greek, then said, Greek man, you want to hear it in your own language? Fuck off! Fuck off!" It was really intense.
Oh, that's funny.
And then our tour guide was like, "We're just walking through your neighborhood. I told you already that the dog's not mine. He just followed us. It's a stray." And he was like, "Fuck off! Fuck off back to Australia!" And our tour guide is like, "I'm not Australian, sweetie." And he says, "Fuck off back to England then." And she says, "I'm not English." I mean, the guy's like having a fucking meltdown. Like everybody in the tour group, there's like 20 of us. It's a big group, and we're all kind of just like looking at each other. And he's like going on, and she's trying to like say, these island houses were constructed in only a few hours. And he was in the background just like saying, and I wrote this down, so this is verbatim. He was saying, "The dirt of civilization is washing up on the beaches of my country." Because the fucking dog and cat fighting woke him up from his mid-afternoon nap. He's just like lost his mind.
Oh, that is so fucking good, dude. I'm glad you wrote it down. I'm glad you had the instinct to write it down.
He said that, and I was like, I'm a little afraid, but more than that, I'm touched. That was a beautiful piece of poetry.
No one has ever owned me so well, sir. Thank you. Can you be the tour guide?
I turned to the other guys in the tour group, and I was like, "Man, you hear what that guy just said about y'all?"
Wow, that guy's mad at all of you and not me. Fuck off back to Australia.
I've never been to Australia yet, but after hearing that guy tell me to fuck off to back there, thinking I might go.
Yeah.
He was pretty convincing.
Man, this whole trip was, I think, Southeast Asia, East Asia, Europe, like that line.
It was building up to that.
I think that line was it. I think you need to, it's going to be hard to top that. But yeah, that was good. How was the other tour group responding to this?
I mean, it was just like this weird thing that happened, and something happened. You move on. The fight between the cat and the dog lasted like 3 seconds. The guy screamed for like 5 minutes. So
Oh man, cool.
I mentioned a couple
I
negative things, but I want you to know that I am into Greece. I like Greece.
if I looking back on all the episodes, Derek, that we've done, I don't think either of us are very excitable people, but I think the ones that stick out on my mind as you really actually being into was Tokyo and Hanoi.
I mean, I liked stuff from everywhere I've gone, but when you sit down to talk to somebody, it's like that doesn't really have a story. There's not really a story until something goes wrong. You can't just like sit down and be like, let's see, I did this, I did this, I did that, I had a great day, the end. That sucks.
That would certainly make these easier to record if you were like, Derek, how's Greece? And you were like, good. And I was like, all right, cool.
Bye.
Well,
I'll say what I like about it is, this is going to sound corny. The people actually, besides that one prick, the people in Greece have been some of the nicest I've encountered in my entire time traveling.
cool. Like, just in what way?
Really helpful and open, and just a warm, positive attitude. You just feel it when you're here. It's like it's okay to talk. It feels genuine. I like it.
Okay.
Yeah. The first thing that happened when I got into Athens was got off the plane and got to the Airbnb, and I went down the street to buy a SIM card. This is the first guy I'm talking to in Athens. And he's telling me about where I can get the best Coke. These are
Coca-Cola?
these are friendly guys.
Well, that's good. you know?
Yeah, and I'm not a Coke guy, but it was just kind of like, that's nice. He's looking out for me. If I was a Coke guy, this guy would be my new best friend. You know what I mean? And this is the first dude I talked to in Athens. Another thing I feel like that is maybe indicative of the pleasantness of the Greek spirit, perhaps, is earlier today when I was sitting at the bakery, there was this lady that came up to the regulars at the bakery, guys just sitting around smoking, drinking their coffee, talking to each other in Greek, so I don't know what they're talking about, probably the Marvel movies. These old guys. This lady
Yeah.
came up, and she had like a big jar of honey. She was talking to the old guys for a while, and she opened up her jar of honey, and she had each of them smell the jar of honey one by one, and they were all kind of like nodding their head and being like, "This is good honey." And 10 or 15 minutes later, she comes back with 3 jars of honey, sold them to the guys, 20 euros a pop.
20 euros.
This is good
Okay.
honey.
Okay.
You see, that's a story that doesn't have a bad ending. There's no conflict there, and I tried telling it in a way that was interesting, and I fucked up. It sucked. It was so boring. It was just
The old guys got the honey, eh?
it was just a nice story, just a nice thing I saw.
They got the honey.
The old guys got the honey.
Yeah, that guy was right. You all are the dirt of the earth.
But let's talk about the food. The food is really
Okay.
good. The gyros are fucking delicious because they use like pork meat instead of like the lamb beef thing. And it's like
Yeah.
so much better. It makes you wonder why Mediterranean places in the United States don't use pork. I would say that the biggest difference with Greek food is that like all the vegetables are like really fresh and juicy. A couple days ago, I had a tomato, and I was sitting there eating the tomato. I was like, God damn, I did not know these were supposed to taste good. It had so much flavor. My mind was like blown a little bit. You've got to go to the Mediterranean. They have the best tomatoes. What? Shut the fuck up. I'm going to hit you in the face with a brick.
You absolutely have to go. It's beautiful.
Another thing I like is Greek coffee is really good. It kind of reminds me of Vietnamese coffee because it's like they use strong, shitty, like instant coffee like Nescafe and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
that's like the base for a lot of their drinks. And they have this thing called a frappe, which is not like the American like Starbucks or McDonald's style where it's like a milkshake.
Mm-hmm.
It's this thing where they have instant coffee, they put it in water, in sugar, and then they blend it up until it's like this foamy shit that you would think by looking at would just be gross. When you have the combination of shitty instant coffee and lots of sugar, just like with Vietnamese coffee, there's some kind of magic that happens. I imagine that's the sugar.
Yeah.
When you drink it, it's like really creamy, almost like a caramelly taste. It is just so fucking good. So I've been drinking frappes like every single day. Although you can't let them sit for too long, or else it separates with the coffee on bottom and like the pond scum instant coffee bullshit on top. But then you just lick the pond scum bullshit right off the top of it.
Dude, do they have? I for some reason I would just think that Greek coffee would be very similar, like Turkish coffee, where they'd like fix it in one of those like little pots and.
They do have traditional Greek coffee, but it's mostly like the old guys drinking that. Like the guys buying honey. But to be honest, I haven't drank that at all. I'm insanely in love with the instant coffee bullshit, sugar high, fucking frappe thing.
You should try it.
Yeah, I should,
should
shouldn't
try
I?
the
But I've
roasted
only
coffee.
got so much
Yeah.
time left in my life, don't I? Yeah. Maybe I should do things that I like instead, huh?
Okay. Did you go on any like? You went to the Acropolis, right?
Yes. I don't know. My feeling about like going to historical sites has always been kind of like I appreciate the history on one hand, and then on the other hand, I appreciate the object in itself kind of more. You know what I mean? Because like if you go to like a quote unquote shitty temple somewhere, a place that doesn't look good, and then they tell you a cool story about it, it's like, oh, that's cool. But I don't care about the shitty temple then. I care about the cool story. Whereas if you go to something that's really cool, even if they tell you a story about it that's cool, you'll forget the story because you're like, I don't give a shit. I just saw something cool. Like the big reclining Buddha in Thailand is like extremely cool. I'll never forget seeing it. And I cannot remember the story associated with it at all. The things I've seen in Greece are more like the other way around, where it's like the ruins themselves aren't that interesting, but it is interesting to like be next to a place and then have somebody go, "Oh yeah, that's where Socrates and Plato lectured," and it's like, "Oh yeah, fuck, those were real guys."
Oh, right. Right there in between that KFC and that tire store, Aristotle lectured young Alexander the Great.
That's where Aristotle taught Billy Madison.
Greece was a mistake, right? Like you originally were trying to go to Austria.
Yeah, but I couldn't get a place booked, so I came to Greece instead.
Bummer. I hate when you have to settle like that.
I liked the ferry ride. The ferry ride from Athens to Naxos, which is the first island I went to, was like 5 hours, and from Naxos to Santorini it was like 4. The ferries are cool because you can go up to the top deck and look out. And I've never like been on a boat like that for that long.
Yeah, boats are fun, man. I mean, that was like what I like to do. Again, you talking about island hopping around the Greek archipelago. It reminds me of when I went to Lake of the Ozarks on a pontoon boat, which was fun for me. But yeah, boats are nice.
Boats are nice.
You know?
I guess my one true bit of travel advice, and I think that's a good quota to hit, right? Like every episode I can have like, there's one thing I can say that's actually useful is if you book a ferry in Greece and they give you a choice between economy and an air seat, the air seat's more expensive. Don't pick the air seat because what the air seat is it's like an airplane style seat. So all it does is reserve a specific kind of seat for you. Whereas if you select economy, you can sit anywhere on the fucking deck, which you're going to want to do anyway. You're going to want to like move around. It's a ferry. You want to walk around, look over the side and stuff. You don't want to sit. I mean, fuck, the upside to being on a ferry is that you're not on a damn plane. Why would you get an airplane seat on a ferry? It's stupid.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I did the first time I took a ferry is I reserved an air seat because I didn't know what it was. I was like, oh, it's more expensive by like $10. I
Must be good.
I had no idea what economy
I made that
was.
mistake before, dude.
So I did the air seat, and then when I got to my seat, I was like, I don't want to fucking sit in this cramped little area. So, I went to the deck where there's like tons of open tables, much more comfortable than the air seat, and that's where I hung out.
Made that same mistake with that Menudo.
The boy band with Ricky Martin?
No, the cow stomach soup.
Oh yeah, that's right. Do we tell that story on here?
Probably not.
Do you want to?
Do you want me to tell the story?
Oh yeah, please spin a yarn.
Well, for all the listeners out there, I visited our good friend Derek, who's also on this podcast. You may have heard him out in Los Angeles, and we were hanging out as we sometimes do, not often, But we were. I was staying at your place, and there was that breakfast shack that's near your apartment. So we walked down there. Normally, I
It's
think
a
every
taco
day we got
place.
burritos. I want to say, yeah, it's a taco burrito kind of place, but they have like breakfast burritos, which are fucking really good. And well, one day when we went down there, they had a sign up which said, Menudo on Saturday. And I looked at my phone, and God damn it, if it wasn't Saturday. And I looked at the price of the Menudo, and it was, like $10. And I looked at the price of the breakfast burrito, and it was about $5. And I was like, well, that's twice as good. And so I sat down. Derek, you wizened, grizzled, got a burrito, as was tradition. I, a trailblazer, was like, I will have the Menudo, my good man. Not knowing what it was, and I did not Google what it was. So Derek was chowing down on his burrito, having a good old time, when I get the Menudo. Now, what I got looked like a bowl of tomato soup filled with jellyfishes. It's about the best way I can describe it. Just like tiny jellyfish that were in the bowl. And I was like, what the fuck is this? So I started eating it, and the taste I can only describe as it tastes like a cow smells. It tastes like you just went up to like a cow and licked it. And that was what I was eating. And I was like, huh, all right, this is unappetizing. It has the consistency of eating some weird fucked up jello. And it's tomato soup, which really isn't good unless you're dipping grilled cheese in it. So I was like, well, I may have made a mistake here. So I pulled out my phone and I Googled, what the hell is Menudo? And I found out it's a cow stomach soup. I stopped eating the soup, and I was like, well, and it wasn't like, and this was a blind study, I didn't go in thinking, oh, this is cow stomach soup, I want to try it. It was just like, oh, Menudo, it's a cool word, double the price, fuck yeah, let's give it a shot. Not a fan of Menudo. Hard pass.
It was the lowest I've ever seen you sink.
Oh, yeah, because I could have had a breakfast burrito. I could have had 2 fucking breakfast burritos. And instead, I got a bowl of cow stomach.
It was so gross.
And
I was just like, why the fuck would you order something that you don't know what it is for no reason? You're just gambling with your gambling with your life.
It was a limited edition run. Saturdays only. Menudo. Come and get it. It's like, how could I pass it up? I had to try it. I had to know what people were gabbing about. On the streets of Los Angeles, everyone was Menudo this,
It looks
Menudo
so
that.
gross. And you were eating cow stomach soup at like 9 a.m.
I'm a growing boy, Derek. I need my cow stomachs for the day ahead. What the fuck is even in cow stomachs nutritionally? I don't even know. Is it protein?
No, it's just this.
What is it?
They were just gonna throw it away, and someone said, "Let's make soup out of it" as a joke and give it to this idiot.
Yeah, it was even cooler though, because it's like I said, it looked like jellyfish and tomato soup, but it was like if jellyfish had weird pores, like huge pores too, because it's a stomach.
The only reason they advertise that dish is to punish anyone ignorant enough that would order it.
Well, I think people like it.
You can't prove that.
And that's I can say though that I was not a fan, and I didn't have the audacity to go in and say I don't like Menudo. Can I have a breakfast burrito? So I just had to leave, hunched over, hunger pains, my stomach digesting another stomach.
I think I was trying to
for.
convince you to just go and order a burrito. Like, just pay more money and be satisfied. Don't, take the hit. You learned a lesson. But just get the burrito.
I wanted to like it. I was trying to will myself into liking it, but it just wasn't going to happen.
You were trying to snobbily show me how uncultured I am by enjoying cow stomach. It didn't work, did it?
I couldn't go in and be like, sir, I'm a moron. Please give me something else. Can't do that. I ended up just leaving it there on the table. So
Yeah.
the important thing is they have good burritos.
See, that was a good story because it had a conflict. There was a bad thing that happened to you, which made it entertaining, and then at the end
Hmm.
there is a moral, which is burritos are good.
Burritos are really fucking good. It's better than a sandwich because there's no way for it to fall out. It's like perfectly wrapped. It's a tube of food. You just unhinge your jaw and shove it in your mouth. It might be the perfect food.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
I'm going to say that.
I'm thinking, and like there's really not much else. I mean, like conceptually, a corn dog is right up there because it's self-contained and it has a stick. That way, you don't even have to get your hands greasy. It's
Yeah.
suspended in the air, and then as soon as you're finished with the corn dog portion, all you have to do is throw away the stick, and you're home scot-free essentially.
Mm.
I guess the big problem with corn dogs is they don't taste as good as burritos. So
No.
that's a big minus in their court.
And you're missing the crucial component of the corn dog, which is it's self-contained until you put mustard on it, and then you've opened Pandora's box. It is
Oh yeah,
really eaten
you're gambling with
after the
fate
fall.
after that point.
Yeah, now you've fucked it up. Whereas a burrito, you can keep it all self-contained. It's like every sandwich wants to be a burrito.
Oh my god, you just made me think. What if someone put mustard on a burrito, and now I'm pissed.
Yeah,
Why did you lead me to
Yeah.
this train of thought?
yeah. Well,
Like a
hopefully
like a
it passes
splinter
and
in
you
my
go back to it.
mind.
Yeah, it's bad. Don't do that. Don't put mustard on a burrito unless you're some type of free-thinking weirdo. And you just want to put mustard on shit. I don't know.
All right, well, we're done.
No, I have more things to say about this. Should I stop? You want to say goodbye?
um,
Just abruptly end. Just cut me at like when I start talking about mustard. Just abruptly end the show.
could you start talking about mustard again, and then I'll cut it at that point?
What do you want to know about mustard? So I was one time I actually did try to make my own mustard, Derek.
Is that true?
And it turns out there's actually a lot to it. So depending on how spicy you want the mustard to be, the actual color of the mustard seed will affect it. If you go for like a black mustard, I think that's either the least or the most like mustardy. It's one of the two.
So you don't know.
But the brown,
You
you
don't.
go for the brown
You don't
mustard.
know. It's either the least or the most. It's either one thing or the complete opposite. So why
It's
mention
one of
it?
the two. But the brown mustard, Derek, is in between either the least or the most. Now, white mustard, that's where things get tricky.
Okay,
'cause
we're
it's,
we're
again,
cutting
either
now. We're cutting not because you're talking about mustard, but because you don't know shit about mustard is what I'm discovering.
But
We
but
would
here's
keep
the
this all.
thing.
We would keep this all in if you knew about mustard, but you're just giving me conjecture.
The point is that I wanted to make something with brown mustard seed, which is in between either the most or the least mustardy things. The point is that the brown mustard seed is definitely in the middle of either the least or the most, being black or white mustard seed.
You didn't make it, or you did.
I did not make it because I couldn't find any.
That was a fucking good story.
Couldn't. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh yeah, sorry. A bunch of old Greek men. I offered them mustard to smell, and then they bought it from me.
Okay, that would be a nice story because it would involve nice old Greek men. Maybe the lesson
Yeah.
there is we all have a little bit of shared humanity. Maybe we all want to buy things that smell nice. Makes you think.
Not me. Not this guy. But
Yes?
mustard
Okay, bye.
is pretty. All right.
I mean, I wouldn't trade the whole experience for anything, just for those singular moments. But the times between those moments, the waiting around, the abstract feeling of not being tied to my surroundings, the fact that none of the people I meet or talk to, I'm going to have relationships with. I mean, it's weird, and it's been happening. It's been going on for so long that I meet people, and it's like, cool. bye. And that's all it is. That's all it has been. There is no home base, you know. It has to be like a mental home base. I have to have a feeling of mental stability and comfort to be able to do this without having like a fucking breakdown, basically. So, you know, like I call my mom once or twice a week and we talk, and I have that. I mean, I have you doing this, I think actually is important to me. And then, you know, I always try to, even if I have like a really, like activity packed day, or I have a day where I'm like moving around a lot, or I'm on a plane or whatever the fuck, if I'm able to get like my own Airbnb, that's great because I'll spread all my shit out. You know, I'll leave the Airbnb. I'll go somewhere with like a good rating on TripAdvisor, and I'll eat a nice meal. And I'll eat like yesterday I had dinner and it took me like an hour to eat. Maybe like an hour and a half because they brought me a lot of food. It was basically my only meal of the day, and I just like sat there and just like savoring every bite of this like really nice sun-dried fish, which I never tried before, but it was delicious. I talk about food a lot because that it's comforting, you know, to have something that's going to calm you down, and it's a sort of it's a body focused experience. You know, it makes you feel good. Having that kind of stuff really helps, but it has been grinding on me, and it has like affected me in certain ways. And it's a little bit worrying that it's gone on for so long, and that I still have so long to go, that it's just like God, everything feels so like fucking up in the air. It's like, and by the way, spending all this money which isn't mine has also made me like probably value money like way less. Where I'm just like I don't even know what the fuck it means. How am I gonna go back to working a job where I'm gonna be making like $12 an hour? This is gonna be tough. Um, yeah, I mean, just it's kind of like I started this with like a lot of vigilance, I think, about like my guard was up, I think, when I started this, and it hasn't come down completely. Like, I think in a lot of ways I'm more chill and trusting about, you know, things will just work out, but I still have a level of concern that I have to have just to fucking navigate and get from place to place and have the bookings done and everything ready so that I don't end up without a place to stay. And having that turned on at all times, you know, it wears you down. It's to the point where, like, you know, in a couple of weeks, I'll probably be like in Italy or something, which is amazing. And if I was in California and you told me I would be going to Italy in a couple of weeks, it would be all I could think about, and it would be fucking the best, most interesting thing in my life. And right now, it's just like, who cares? Like, yeah, I'm going to Italy. I've been to a lot of places. Italy's going to be one of them. Um, so in a weird way, it's kind of flattened the whole experience because it's not like a series of highs, because that's not how your brain works, and that's not how your life works. You know, the hedonic treadmill or whatever. Like, you know, I see all these beautiful places, and now they're in a way they've been made less special by being all put together in one long trip. And again, not that I regret it, and not that they're not special in the moment when they happen, but there's so many special moments. The memory doesn't work maybe the way I thought it would, where I'm just having tons of memorable experiences. It's more like every now and then I'll be like, oh yeah, fuck, I did do that in Korea. That was cool. And like, you know, just kind of come out of nowhere. But yeah, 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 definitely. Yeah, the first few weeks of travel are definitely very different from month four of travel. It turns out it's interesting though, because you would think that like, oh shit, I'm just going to my job every day and every day's the same, and your brain filters out most of that. But if you were like fucking, oh, a jet setting lifestyle where you travel all over the world, I mean, that'd be amazing. It's like after a while, maybe not. It's weird. It's fucking weird. It should be amazing the whole time. And I don't and I feel like I'm sounding like an asshole and that I'm making it sound like it's not cool. It's still very cool. It's very cool. Look, I'm probably never going to shut the fuck up about this whole trip. Like it's going to be the only thing I have to talk about for the rest of my life. I haven't done anything else. But the living experience of it, besides like accumulating information and experiences, like day to day, I'm pretty much the same as I was in California. You probably haven't like noticed a huge personality shift in me. It's because there hasn't been one. Yeah, yeah. But I mean, it's still weird that that's happening. It's still weird that a lot of times I wake up and I'm like, where the fuck am I? It happens a lot. I was on the last island. I was on Santorini, and it's like there's so many names of places and fuck. The last island I was on, Santorini, I stayed in a hostel. It's the only thing I could afford. I couldn't do an Airbnb or anything. And I woke up in the hostel, and I was like, "Where am I? What's going on? Why is somebody snoring in my room? Did I bring somebody back to my Airbnb? No, I'm not in an Airbnb. When was the last Airbnb? Was that was that on Naxos or was that in Athens? Where did I stay in Naxos? What does the Airbnb in Athens look like? And where was I before? And like last night, I had like a really weird nightmare. I normally don't like remember my nightmares or my dreams, but I remembered my nightmare from last night. My nightmare was that I had just moved into a new apartment building. It was like a two-level nightmare. So this is what happened, and I think this is a great nightmare. It's a nice nightmare because it has a story, both parts of it, and the story feels metaphorical. So if I tell it, it'll seem like, oh, well, that's shedding light on your inner mood. You know, that's probably I'm sure that's why I remembered it and why I've turned it into a story. Anyway, here's the nightmare. I moved into an apartment in a new city in either New York or Bangkok. It's not clear which one. And it's my first night in my apartment in this new city. At night, the electricity doesn't work. Um, and the bathroom is located outside of my apartment. So I leave my apartment and I walk down the hall to the bathroom. After I use the bathroom, I go back and I open the door and I start walking towards my bed and I realize I'm not in my apartment. I opened somebody else's door. I'm in somebody else's apartment. And I'm walking through the rooms. I notice there are people sleeping there. They're not waking up. And it seems like I'm walking around in the stranger's apartment forever. And it's freaking me the fuck out. I want to get the hell out of there. I'm afraid they're going to wake up. They're going to think I'm robbing the place. And I know that they don't speak English. I don't know why I know this, but I know they don't speak English. And I'm afraid because if they catch me, I won't be able to explain myself. And I finally get to the door, and I go to open it. And it's a door that I've never seen before. And it's covered in like foreign language, and there's like a weird numbers and shit. It's almost like a combination lock directly on the handle, and I'm trying to pull it open, and it's like making a loud beeping sound, like someone's trying to open me without putting in the code. Um, and I hear somebody slowly raising up in bed, saying something in a foreign language and starting to lumber towards me. Scared the shit out of me. So I kind of wake up from my nightmare. I turn in bed for a moment and then I fall back asleep. And then I have a second nightmare where where I'm on a movie set and I'm directing a movie about uh, a vampire woman and a Frankenstein woman who are in love with each other. Um, and we just shot a scene, and I yell cut, and I gather the crew around me, and I said, "Listen, I'm distracted. I have to tell you about this weird nightmare I had." And I tell them about the nightmare I had in the last dream, and everybody's kind of like bored, and like they're kind of like, "Okay, well that's pretty weird, Derek. But we gotta like finish this movie, and you're the director, so like, can you just direct?" And I'm like, I don't know. I kind of got to take a walk. Do you mind if I just like take a walk around the block or something really quick? And they're like, that's fine. Yeah, no worries. Um, Also, for some reason, uh, the girls in the movie are two ex-girlfriends that are in love with each other, but they don't know me in the nightmare. They're just actresses. Um, so I leave the studio, and I walk around like a fountain for a minute, clear my head, and I go to go back into the studio, and I can't get the door open. I look down, and the knob's the fucking knob from the other nightmare. I'm like, what the fuck? And and I start freaking out. I'm like panicking, and like eventually, like I grab something, I bust open a window, and I crawl through the window, and I like cut up my arms and my face and shit. And I come in through the window all bloody and like in a panic, and all the actors kind of like look at me, and they're like, "What the fuck is he doing? What is this guy's fucking insane?" And somebody basically comes over, and they're like, "Hey, so we got another director. You're fired. Sorry." I'm just sitting there covered in blood. I'm like, the door. They fired me. I woke up, and I woke up to an unfamiliar ceiling. You know, this hotel on an island in Greece. It's like, oh God, that's the bad shit. That's the part where it feels abstract. That's where it feels like I'm like fucking floating in space. Good nightmare. But what was it saying? It was saying something about my transient nature and of travel, about like the danger I feel about being in a foreign place, and like fucking up, basically. The idea that if I lived in a foreign place, like things would go wrong. Um, and then also I guess the second nightmare is like my aspirations, in Los Angeles, and like how this is all gonna fuck those up in some way. Yeah. No, yeah, it does. It helps a lot, actually. Thank you. Um, yeah. I mean, you're kind of like only exist in relation to other shit. So if you if you lose all that shit, and you're just like somewhere out there alone, it changes changes how you feel, maybe. And I think it can be easy to feel like, what did I think was important in my life? What was I doing? Who do I know? Who's my friend? If you walk around and you don't see your friends, it's like, do I have friends? Do I have anybody?